And we are live. I'm Adam. This is Open Late. Tonight, I am opening some Gundam Universe action figures. These are one of those lines that I don't talk about a ton. I don't have a ton of them. You know, they're. It's not a huge line. It's not a line that you see a lot of hype for. But it is a line that I absolutely love as a Gundam model kit builder, as well as a huge fan of Gundam Wing. I've been buying the Gundam Wing figure specifically, and this kind of culminates the at least on the sort of Gundam side, sort of culminates the collection. We've now seen enough of the figures that we have the full set. So we got the wing, the heavy arms, the death scythe, and Sandrock. Shenlong is the last of the 5. And then Leo is like a troop builder. So I grabbed a couple of the Leos just because you need somebody for them to kind of face off against, right? So these are the last. I've got Tall Geese as well. I should say there is Tall Geese, so there is sort of another baddie, I guess. If they do Epion, I would be very, very excited. I would get an Epion as well. And I should mention too. I keep forgetting this one. They did the Wing Zero as well. If any of that makes sense to you, great. If not, hopefully you'll still enjoy the video. Gundam is one of those things where, like, if you it seems really, really dense as far as the lore and stuff like that, but it really isn't. And it's especially true if you get into Gundam Wing, because Gundam Wing is kind of standalone. It effectively exists in a separate universe from anything else within Gundam. And there's only a few of them like that. A lot of them occur in the same multiverse, I guess, the same universe within the multiverse. But Wing is separate. It stands alone. It's its own thing. And for a lot of North American Gundam fans, Wing was their entry point. And so it wasn't quite my entry point. My entry point for Gundam was actually going to Japan. And when I went to Japan for when I was in Japan, Gundam X was actually the Gundam that was on TV. So I watched a few episodes of that. I was absolutely blown away. Grabbed like way more model kits that I should have. If you weren't aware, Gundam model kits. Oh, sorry. If you weren't aware, Gundam model kits don't travel very well in suitcases because they got big old cardboard boxes. They take up a lot of space. But I was very, very excited to get some models based on the cartoon that I'd seen. And so I still have, a soft spot in my heart for Gundam X. The Gundam Double X, to me, is one of the absolute best Gundam designs that they've ever done. But even within, Gundam fans, Gundam X is a little bit of a black sheep, and not because it's bad or whatever, but because it just doesn't really fit, and there just wasn't the same there wasn't the same kind of fandom that sort of some of the other lines got. The main ones, the Universal Century, so like Grandpa Gundam and the RX 782 is easily the most iconic Gundam. But a lot of people love Gundam Seed. A lot of people love, different ones. MS-08 is a big one. I really like Thunderbolt. I only found out about that one recently, and it was because of the jazz soundtrack that I kind of got interested in that one. But there's so many. I mean, there's so many series. Recently, there's a new series Uh, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen a single episode for it, but the Gundam designs from it are absolutely awesome, and the memes coming out of it are absolutely awesome. Um, I want to say which I don't know. I don't even know. That's how bad of a Gundam fan I am. I only buy the Gundam Universe figures from Wing, and almost all the kits that I buy are from Wing now. Unless they redo the Gundam X stuff, that'll be sort of what I do. I have a couple of the seed kits, and then whenever they do an RX-78 too, I typically buy that as well. But that's not what you're here for. You're not here for Gunpla. You're not here for the Gundam plastic models. You are here for Gundam Universe unboxing, and let's get into it very quickly. I'm just going to say hello to a few of you. Sam Rock is here. Jeff Morris is hanging out. Everything's plastic, collectibles, and reviews says I was looking at these the other day, was going to pick them up, but didn't know much about them. Never ever watched it, but thought they always look very cool. May pick up some of the model kits. The model kits, I love the model kits. When I have time to build the model kits, I have so much fun doing that. These are great because, you know, you pick them up and straight out of the box, you basically have a very, very similar thing to what you get with the model kits. So that's what I kind of like about them. These are a little bit hardier as well. Um, the model kits are model kits. They're not designed to be action figures, although they are, you know, in their own right action figures. But these are proper action figures, you know, from Bandai Namco, um, you know, Tamashii Nations. What I don't even know what the company, like, I don't know how to like say what company it is or whatever. But regardless, let's get into it. Let's open some of these up, and then and then we'll see where we're at. I do. Okay, so I do want to say one more thing before I start unboxing these. YouTube changed the rules for the you know, their affiliate program, their partner program, whatever the heck it's called. In terms of, you know, unlocking some of the tools within Facebook, unlocking some of the monetization and stuff like that. I kind of put a request out yesterday for like a push to sort of get me to 500, which is the new you know, bar for entry. I've been absolutely blown away by the reaction. So much support and so many people, you know, reposting my post and sharing, and, you know, so many new subscribers. I'm I'm at a loss for words. Like, I'm honestly speechless. I genuinely didn't think I would get the reaction that I did. So thank you to anybody that is a new subscriber. Thank you to anybody that shared the link. Just thank you. I mean, this is one of those things where I say this all the time, and I will say this at the end again, but, you know, unboxing toys with friends is so much better than unboxing toys all by myself. So that's, you know, why I'm here, and that's why I do this. Um, so thank you. Genuinely, I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're watching live and commenting, whether you're watching on the replay, whether I don't even know that you're watching. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be people that watch the videos, they don't comment, you know, they don't even subscribe, whatever. I don't really, at the end of the day, care. I hope that you're enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and for me, that's kind of the most important part. So thank you. Radical Toys is here. What's going on, Radical Toys? Jeff Morris says, I have 3 Bandai model kits. They are fun to put together. I agree, the model kits are great, but not full-blown action figures. Yes, the joints, depending on what, you know, kits you're getting, the joints aren't super solid all the time. Everything Plastic, Collectibles, and Reviews says, think I may have gotten you a couple. Are you talking to Jeff Morris? Radical Toy says, I used to love watching Gundam in the 90s on YTV. Yes, absolutely. YTV being a Canadian channel that I think was way ahead of its time in terms of, what it, what they showed. Oh, Everything's Plastic Collectibles and Reviews saying, I think I may have gotten you a couple subs. Well, I absolutely appreciate that. That's massive. I genuinely appreciate it. I've said this before. When I first started the channel, I thought 100 subs was like, if I hit 100, I would have been happy. I would have kept going. You know what I mean? And I have kept going. But now now I was like, well, if I hit 100 and then I hit 200 and then I hit 300, and I was like, I could probably hit 1,000. And I was thinking, like maybe I'll hit 1,000 next year. That'll be cool. Like that's not that far away. And then they changed the rules and they were like 500, and I was like, I'm only 150 away. Maybe maybe it's more feasible than I think. But this is boring. Let's just open the action figures. I'm going to do the Leo first because he's effectively a troop builder. So I'll do the Leo first, and then I'll do the Shenlong. Samrock, I've been subscribed to your YouTube channel for a while now, and I really enjoyed watching your unbox toys live. It's different than something that's pre-recorded. Thank you, Sam. I genuinely appreciate that comment. For a couple of reasons. One, you absolutely have been around for it seems like forever. Like it feels like since I started doing these, and I genuinely appreciate you being here. And I genuinely appreciate you whether it's accurate or not, I don't know. But I want to do these a little bit different, right? I want to do them live because it's just a little more fun. It's a little more interactive. It's a little bit different. I'm not going to do a good review. These figures came out months ago. I got them fairly recently, and I'm only unboxing them now, so I'm like way behind. So if you wanted the early reviews on these, you've probably already seen them, but and I'm a shill, so like I'll tell you that basically anything that I buy, I probably will love. That's just in my nature. But anyway, here's the Leo. So we get the window box, but it's not a huge cutout, but I'm okay with that. I know what I'm getting more or less. We get some art on the front for the Leo. The designation for the Leo, both on the bottom and on the side. So the OZ, which is the Oz, which if you've seen Gundam Wing, you know what Oz is. It's sort of a military faction. The the 06 MS Leo. GU22 is Gundam Universe 22. This is the 22nd figure in the line. We get sort of I don't know if it's a render or a picture on the side there, and then some more pictures and stuff on the back, just showing some of the weapons, some of the articulation, some of what you get in the box, as well as a lot of legalese on the bottom there. A QR code, which I genuinely have no idea where that takes you. Feel free to pause, take a picture, take a look. I don't know. I mean, does that am I just too old that I just don't care what QR codes do or where they lead me? Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that's the box. Let's get them out of the box because the box is the boring part. I want the action figure. So these always have this little flimsy little insert card. Other than that, it's just cardboard inside the box. And then they always give you, I think this is kind of adorable. Like with Bandai, we get these instruction sheets. It's like, put this on here, put his hands on, put the weapon in his hand. I guess it's useful to someone. Somewhere. I don't know. I will not be keeping that box. I do keep these. Okay, so I jokingly say like, oh, these are kind of silly, but I keep them. I don't know why. as per usual with Bandai, we get like a proper clamshell. This is 2 pieces, so there's an outer plastic covering on the tray, and as soon as I take this off, everything just falls out. It's super nice. If you get used to, you know, so much Hasbro stuff takes so long to get out of the package. This genuinely, if I tip this upside down, it empties the dang tray, the whole thing. It's all empty. That's it. That's all. You're done. You've unboxed your figure. I could call it a night at this point, but I won't. I'm just kidding. Really, really nice figures. Let's see what we got here. Very quickly, we get these sort of thrusters. These, of course, go on. These, of course, I shouldn't say of course. You might not know that. These go on the back, and they are going to, I believe, clip on. It's quite clever. Both clips are angled a little bit. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it very well either. But both that top clip and the bottom clip are slightly angled, so that when you sort of put this on, it's full disclosure, I bought 2 of these, so I've already done this once. When you put this on, it has a very positive engagement. You definitely know that you've clicked it on. But I'm going to just put him here, take a look at the accessories, and then we'll come back to the figure. Spare hands. So he's got his fist hand straight out of the box. He's got a trigger hand on one hand and a gripping hand on the other hand. All Gundam Universe figures come with this little clip here, which looks a little bit like a horseshoe kind of thing. This will clip onto the figures' nether areas, and then peg onto a Bandai flight stand. So Bandai sort of thought of everything. You can display these guys, you know, full battle mode, full flight mode. Kayla, I see you in there. You're going to have an absolute heyday with a lot of the things that I'm saying here, or at least you should, and rightfully so. Your reputation precedes you. But yeah, pegging, fits on the crotch. What else? Oh, we got one more heat. So this is the blade for this sort of energy blade, and this pegs in here as well. So there you go. And then if you've seen Gundam Wing before, like, this is probably easily the most iconic sort of weapon for the Leos. Almost all of the Leos just stand there with this gun in a very specific pose, and just get mowed down basically by the Gundams. Like the Leos are absolute fodder for the Gundams. If you've seen a single episode, you've seen them all, as far as, you know, how effective the Leos are. But it's still a cool looking piece, in my opinion. Very, very simple, but very effective. You know, you have sort of the barrel, the grip, the canister, so on and so forth. I mean, this to me is iconic. If nothing else, it's just something that if you've ever seen Gundam, you know whose weapon this is, without even sort of knowing which figure it came with. And I can literally like pre-pose this, knowing that this is how I'm going to pose my figures on the shelf. Interestingly enough, and I noticed this when I opened the first one, it has a trigger finger, but there's not really a trigger, if you can sort of see what I mean. Like, it's you know, the trigger finger doesn't really matter. It's not necessary. It could have just been a gripping hand and it would have worked fine. But anyway, that's beside the point. They made an effort. They made an effort. That's important. Bandai genuinely, I think, tries to do good with that stuff. Figure-wise, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just about everything is just molded plastic. There's not a lot as far as paint deco goes. You know, head to toe, it's just molded pieces. The head is the exception. There's a couple other little bits and pieces where there's a little bit more. What I typically do with these is I use like a Gundam panel line marker to add little highlights where I think they're needed. But I kind of like the simplicity of this as well. The panel lines are pretty well defined, so I don't always feel the need to do that. Like I'll hit a few of them, and I don't like them when they're too dark. So there's always sort of a balance between, you know, adding panel lines and kind of allowing them to just catch, you know, a little bit of shadow where they do. And just sort of appreciating the figure for what it is and what it isn't, right? With a full model kit, you know, you have full control over how much detail you put into the figure, how much paint you put on, so on and so forth. With this, I kind of like them just out of the box as is, because that's you know how they did it, right? So, but we do get a little bit of paint on the head, the red there, and then the gold on the I think it's picking it up a little bit. You know, it's a metallic kind of reflective gold for the face screen. Now that's a camera, like that's like a video camera. The pilot sits inside the chest. This thing would be this would be about a one. I'm just trying to think the difference between like a high grade kit is a 1 to 144. Master grade kit is a 1 to 100. This is somewhere in the middle, so I guess like a 1 to 120 scale, which makes this a certain height. I'm not going to do the math. I'm not going to pretend that I can do the math that quickly. But basically, a pilot sits in the chest. So there you go. That's if a human can fit inside the chest, then how tall does that make this? 30 feet ish? I don't know. What kind of a fan am I? Anyway, they're great figures. The articulation is decent. You know, the leg goes a little over 90. There's okay rotation in the ankle, but there's typically like more parts that move than sort of a standard action figure very often. The Leo is a little bit of the exception. He's a little bit clumsy. The legs aren't articulated that well, but he does have, you know, his armor is a little bit articulated, so you can hit a few more poses. But like I said, with the Leo, you're really just going to put that rifle in his hand and have him stand there to effectively be fodder for the Wing Gundams. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because it's super quick and easy. I don't typically pose these when I do the videos because I'm lazy and I'm not very fast at posing figures. But with this guy, I feel like I can probably swing it because it's such a, like I said, he just stands there. They just stand there. The Leos just stand there being shot at all the time, feels like. That's always how you see Leos in the, you know, in the animated series. That's always how you see the Leos. They just stand there, like I said, getting shot at, and they get destroyed quickly because the Gundams are far superior. So he's gonna stand. Well, he'll stand there. He'll get moved soon, and it'll make sense why. But anyways, that's the Leo. Let's move on to Shenlong. Shenlong Gundam. So this is probably one of my favorite Gundam designs. There's sort of like a there's like an Asian influence. You know, well, you'll see when we get there. We get the art on the front. We get the cutout, same as the other one. Like I said, relatively small cutout. Shenlong on the side. The picture on the other side. Some call outs to some of the functionality on here as well, just like we saw on the Leo. And then they're showing some of the other figures available in the line. This is figure number 20 in the line. With the Wing Gundams, they all have their designations. XXG-01. This is S. I think the Wing Gundam is 01W. Heavy Arms is like 01H. So on and so forth. You can figure it out. It's not rocket science. It's not, you know, it's not code. It's not like there's no secret to what they're doing or how they're doing it. As with the Leo, we get a little insert card just to add a little background color. It's just, you know, pretty thin stock. We get the instruction sheet. Again, if you've ever handled an action figure, this is 100% redundant. Some more kind of legalese and stuff like that. But I keep these because why not? Again, you know, in the tray, there he is. And again, as I said before, you open this up, you dump it out, you're done. It's more plastic than a lot of other lines, but that's so much quicker and easier. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely like taking an SH Figure Arts figure out of the tray like that too. It's so quick. It's so easy. You get to your toy right away. You're not battling with, you know, twist ties or little cable, you know, plastic cables or elastic bands or whatever it is. You know, different lines are different. It's quick. It's easy. It's painless. I've never damaged a Bandai figure getting it out of the tray, because why would you? I mean, it's so easy. Before I take a look at this guy, I'm just going to jump back into the chat here for a second, because I admittedly was not paying attention, and it's kind of blown up a little bit. So I will try very, very hard to catch up here. Everything's plastic, says same here, subbed as soon as it was shared on the Northern Outpost group. Unfortunately, you stream when I'm at work. At work now, sneaking in for a little bit. Well, I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciate that. Yeah, at times I try to do, you know, a few different times. I try. I mean, I do other people's videos too. Maybe you can catch me on somebody else's video. Kelly Chase, it's Gundam time. Glad you could be here, Kelly. I know that you're a Gundam guy, so. Yeah, I don't care about everything's plastic, says I don't care about the codes, just the toys. Yeah, for sure. Kayla Silva, Geek the F Out. If you're not watching Kayla Silva's Geek the F Out channel, they're doing some fun videos with Star Trek, classic Star Trek episodes. Kayla says, smack that peach. Like, y'all. Robot foreplay, indeed. Thrusters, nether regions, pegging. Exactly. I'm surprised that you're not building these, Kayla. Just for the opportunity to be saying all those things. Radical Toy says, I saw these at Walmart not too long ago. They look so good. They really are. I mean, like I said, apart from do I have readily available a kit that I've panel lined. Not readily available. Apart from panel lining, and this it'll be more relevant with the Shenlong than it was with the Leo. But apart from some like details and some call outs, well, you know what? I'll grab one just so that I have it at hand so that I can sort of show you. Hold on. Oh, and this one looks so shit, but it'll get the point across. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside so that I have it. Yeah, apart from like panel lines and stuff like that, these look really, really good. Everything Plastic says same 4 different ones. I had them up and seriously debated. Just couldn't spend the $140 to $150 to get the whole wave. Yep. And I can't buy just one. Well, you know what? If you got just the RX 78-2 and then they did like Char's Zaku, so you basically would have like the RX 78-2 is sort of the He-Man to Char's Zaku, which is like the Skeletor. You could kind of have a good guy and a bad guy. Problem is those ones were from like the first 2 waves, so you can't get them anymore. But a lot of times what they do with these is they offer they'll offer the good Gundam versus the sort of bad mech. The bad guys typically don't have Gundams. They have Leos or they have Zaku's or they have whatever. I'm not going to get into that because it's super boring if you have no idea what I'm talking about. But you could get away with 2, I think. I don't think you could get away with 1, but I think you could get away with 2. Radical Toys says, same, I would have grabbed some, but I'm already collecting 3 lines. I can't get into any more as much as I'd like to. Man, man, aren't we all in that situation? Everybody gangsta until Epion shows up. And I'm waiting. I said, Kelly, right off the jump. The Epion is sort of the last, because we've got Tall Geese, we got Leos, we got the 5 main Gundams, we got the Zero. Epion, I hope they do Epion. They're doing Epion in real grade kits. So I'm probably going to pick that up. And what else? If they did the Endless Waltz, if they did the customs, so if they did, Death Sight custom, Heavy Arms custom, Sandrock custom, I might buy a second round of these, but oh man, I kind of hope they don't do that. Unboxing Art is hanging out. What's going on, Unboxing Art? Bandai does a great job on those Gundam figures. They really do. And if you're not going to get into the Gundam model kits, building kits, this is a really, really good way for you to get in. Price point wise, these are way better than a lot of the other options. You can get like the Robot Spirits, I think they're called, for like 3 times the price. They're fantastic, but they're 3 times the price. Master Versal Toy Hunter says, good evening there, Adam, sir. Good evening to you too, Eldor. Thank you for joining. Let's take a look at Shenlong. I've been really excited to get this. The Shenlong is... I really, really like this design. Like I said, there's sort of like an Asian kind of Kung Fu influence on it. The pilot is a Kung Fu master. That's sort of his thing. So his Gundam has a very Asian feel to it. There's the dragon here, which we'll take a look at in a minute. But even the helmet has like a really kind of Asian vibe to it, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but again, he's got the thruster pack. Now with the Gundams, these go right on the back, and that's gonna slot in or peg in right on the back. I don't want to do it gently, sensitively. I noticed this as I was putting it on. The thrusters are actually on ball joints, so you can get angled thrusters which is why these things are so maneuverable. Gundams, I mean, not the action figure itself, but Gundams. Why they are so much more advanced than, you know, the Leo. You know, one Gundam can take out, you know, a whole bunch of Leos. That's just how they roll. But like I was saying, the one thing that the Gundam Universe figures don't do, and it's super easy to do, you just buy, like if you go to any Gundam model store, you can buy the panel lining markers, and you could line all these panels. I have a kit. This is a kit that I've had for a long time, way before I sort of learned how to discreetly panel line a figure. I panel line this guy. So you sort of see, like, if you just look at the legs, you know, the difference when you sort of add the panel lines, like all the lines on this leg sort of exist on this leg. They just didn't panel line them. This thing is an absolute mess. This is one of the first kits I ever bought, and I still have it, thankfully. Most of my other kits I either threw out or got rid of, but that's a Wing kit too. That's a Wing Proto Zero, for anybody that cares, which is probably none of you. But anyway, I hope we get the Wing Proto Zero as well. Actually, that's I digress. But yeah, this is a really nice figure. The color separation is really nice. So there's actually like separate pieces. This isn't painted. This is like a red piece over top of a yellow piece, and then there's painting for the metallic bits on the shoulders. You know, on the that's, again, I was talking about the camera. You know, his head is the camera. Whereas with the Gundams, you get multiple cameras, which is why you have, you know, multiple colors there, the red, the green, even the eyes, I believe, are cameras for the Gundams. So they're just way more advanced than the MS suits. The MS stands for mobile suits. So suits is redundant when I say MS suits. But the Gundams are just more advanced, you know, better materials, better blah blah blah. That's boring. That's not interesting. But this guy's really cool. So this is the thing that the Shenlong has, which makes him really cool. You can see that the two shoulders don't quite match up, and there is a reason that the two shoulders don't match up, because he has this like extending arm that extends out, and then it's, you know, in the anime, this kind of sprays fire effectively. So it's a weapon in the cartoon as well. In the anime, this extends even longer. You know, for the sake of the action figure, you know, they couldn't go much more than that, because other than that, you know, otherwise it would be super chonky and awkward. What they've done a really good job of is that the two arms, look, you know, proportionally correct, and they don't look out of place. So when you're not using that gimmick, it doesn't really look bad. It's clear and obvious that there's sort of a gimmick going on there, but, you know, apart from sort of a little bit more material kind of sticking out from the shoulder piece there, it doesn't really look like it's there. Like, it's not super obvious. The only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed about is that they didn't put any green. Like on the actual anime, there's some green for the eyes, like the dragon's eyes. And typically when he's like not kind of battling, this gets folded up. I think, from what I remember. So he actually, when he's like just standing, he's just standing like that. But then again, like I said, very kung fu inspired and sort of influenced. He gets this nice sort of energy blade. I wish this had been translucent with the kits, like the model kits. This is usually a translucent piece, but they've clearly just used, in this case, I think it's a white plastic piece. Yeah, so the peg there is white. They've just painted this metallic green. It looks good, but it would have looked better if it was a translucent piece. Translucent plastic has a bit of a reputation for getting brittle, so I suspect that that's probably why they've done it this way instead. He gets a shield, which I believe is going to mount on his wrist. And then we get spare hands. Again, he comes with the fists straight out of the box, but he gets the standard sort of thing that they've all seemed to get. He gets a trigger hand and he gets a gripping hand. So you've got your options there. He also gets this same little horseshoe or sort of stirrup bracket piece. In the event that you want to mount him onto a flight stand, that is the piece that you're going to want. I can't remember off the top of my head which Bandai flight stand these are designed to interface with, but they interface perfectly with the appropriate flight stand. As I said, this shield, and again, like a little bit of panel lining and a quick clear coat on this, and it will look much better. These, compared to the model kits, do have a little bit of a cheaper plastic look. But that being said, I think they still look great. And insofar as they are action figures, I mean, it's a toy, right? It's a toy, so it looks good as a toy. So that just, mounts on to the wrist. And away you go. I think this is going to remain a fist hand. And this, in this case, is going to get the gripping hand. And it's going to get this. And I'm not going to, you know what? I was thinking I would pose it with the sort of the dragon hand sort of out, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. I'm not going to pose this up too much because I'm probably going to do that once I'm done. But there you go. Those are the two. Let me see if I can get away with this. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it just makes it much worse. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll go with that. So the MS Leo as well as the Shenlong, they're great figures. Like I said, if you're sort of interested in Gundam, but not necessarily interested in building the model kits, the Gundam Universe figures are a great sort of entry point. Price-wise, they're not terrible. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Let's jump in the comments here, and then I've got more stuff to show. Oz says, look at these legends here. Well, folks, I'll catch the rest on replay. Have a good night. Oz, thank you for dropping in. Talk to you again very soon. Everything's plastic says $30 Canadian. Yeah, I think they go for like 20 to 25 depending on the unit in the US, and then like 30 to 35 in Canada depending on where you get them. So they're pretty reasonable. I mean, they're priced like an action figure, which is great. Eldor says, yes, I did enjoy the Gundam Wing series, and I did manage to find the whole set on DVD after first watching it online. Yeah, it's not that easy to get a lot of these, on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever the case may be. I think if you're interested at all in Gundam Wing, I believe you can still find Endless Waltz, which is sort of a kind of a sequel, kind of like the end of the series on YouTube. It's a pretty quick watch. I think it's about an hour long, broken into 4 or 5 parts, but very good and well worth watching. I think if you like mech suits, Gundam Wing and Gundam Wing Endless Waltz are well worth your time. Kelly Chase, have you checked out the Dollarama Gundams for $5? I haven't, because I've heard from very reliable sources that they are trash. So I won't bother. If you want an inexpensive, I will say this: if you do want to get into Gundam model kit building, but you're not 100% sure whether you're going to enjoy it or not, get yourself a Bandai entry grade kit. Doesn't even matter which one. There's only about 4 or 5 different options. They're cheap. They're like $10 US, 15 Canadian or whatever they are. Super quick and easy to build, but they're really, really well engineered kits. Well worth the time. They are way better than the $5 Dollarama junk, in my humble opinion. All right, like I said, the Shenlong was the last of the Gundams from Gundam Wing as far as releases, and I was super excited to get it, and it doesn't disappoint. It looks absolutely fantastic. Now I'm going to see if I can sort of pose this in such a way that this is not going to get in the way. This spear bit is not going to get in the way, because I'm going to bring out some of the other boys. Leo is going to get bumped up here. I'm going to get these accessories out of the way. I'm going to get him off to the side. I'm going to pull out my other Leo, who is standing in a very similar stance to that Leo. I'm going to pull out the Tall Geese, which is a great figure. I can't even remember if I did any sort of a review for him or not, or whether I just opened him. Might have been before I was doing him. So that's a great figure. We have the Death Scythe. And I'm just doing this for my own enjoyment. If this is super boring, feel free to let me know. Heavy Arms. He's called Heavy Arms because he's got a big heavy arm, I guess. Am I going to be able to pose these in a way that you can kind of see all of them? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. We've got Sandrock. We now have Shenlong. And of course, the main, which is the Wing Gundam. So there, yeah, that's terrible. This looks terrible. How come nobody said anything? How come you guys aren't telling me this looks terrible? It's the angle. I just realized it's the angle. Let's see if I can get away with this. Hold on. There, that's a little bit better. Ever so slightly. Is it? Is it even better? Probably not. This is the kind of professional content you will get on my channel. Anyways, there they all are. The Wing Gundams, as well as what we've gotten so far is, with the baddies, the Tall Geese, the Leos. I'm going to mess around with these a whole bunch more. I'm going to pose them up. I'm going to try to get a good group shot. I'll try to get sort of a Shenlong versus the Leos and so on and so forth. I may post the pictures. I might not. I don't know. That's how I roll. Anyways, any questions, any comments, let me know right away in the comments there. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been fun. Like I said, Gundam is one of those things where, like, I've been an absolute nerd as far as the Gundam stuff goes for a long time. 25 years or so, I think, since the first kit that I got. So it's been a while. But it's not necessarily something that I do a lot of reviews on. It's not something that I talk about too much because there's not a ton of releases. There's not a ton of figures. There's not a ton to talk about with Gundam. There's lots of Gundam stuff going on, but it's not always relevant to, I think, most of you. So Jeff Morris said, I get most of my Bandai model kits at Hobby Lobby when they have their sales. The prices are sort of high, but they are on sale for 40% off quite often. Yeah, I mean, the kits price wise for like Gundam model kits vary seemingly quite wildly depending on where you're buying, like location wise and stuff too. Whether it's country, whether it's whatever, like they seem to be a little bit all over the map. But the store in Kelowna here is actually really good. Their pricing is really good. It's effectively the cheapest pricing I've seen in Canada, and then you can basically get a membership where you can pay into the local kind of Gunpla club and get a discount on your model kits on top of them being the best prices. Everything's plastic, says. There's the money shot. Yeah, I'm trying, man. In 720p or whatever garbage this is. But anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. It's always more fun to open toys with your friends. As I said from the beginning, I'm currently in a bit of a push to get to 500 subs, and it seemed like a pretty lofty goal, but I've been absolutely blown away by the support, by the encouraging words that I've gotten from people, by the amount of people that are sort of sharing the post and sort of recommending the channel to friends, or acquaintances, or people they don't even like. That works for me too. whatever gets people checking out the channel, I appreciate all of it. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you want to watch more, please subscribe. And if you want to sort of be up to date on when I'm doing videos and stuff like this, hit that notification button. This one was a little bit last minute. I wanted to get this one in. I'm probably going to do another one soon. I got a couple more AWOC figures to open. And then I got a big show coming up on Sunday. Jay Gladfelter from Geek Dad Life is going to be on the show. So that should be a blast. Full disclosure, I'm probably just going to fanboy for about an hour and be a caricature of that Chris Farley sketch where he's like, remember the time that you did this? Yeah, that was cool. But hopefully you guys can join me and sort of keep me from being that. As I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're watching this in the replay, thank you. It's always way more fun to open toys with your friends. So hopefully you guys can join me again. Until then, have a good night. Bye-bye.